Hi there! Welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Last time we left off at a pivotal moment, and heck, before last time we left off at a pivotal moment. So, yeah, I guess I have a good sense of when to end and start these episodes, huh? But we just learned that Gossip was in fact actually Hugh Boone, which is the name of the guy who was renting the room where Gregson was shot, and where Barrick was found as well, you know. Which, pretty curious, dare I say. And apparently, you know, that places some of his other testimony in question. When we consider everything that was actually in the room at the time, right? There's this, we already pressed this, but there's this statement, right? I'm all alone in the world, me. I've no kinfolk or nothing. Now, the thing is, I think, this photograph was found on the desk at the scene of the crime. And as we mentioned in the last episode, this Boone did admit that the desk and everything on it was his. So, the fact that this is, in fact, Mrs. Vigil, it's quite strange, admittedly, but I feel like it counters the supposition that he's got no kinfolk or nothing.
Objection!
So let's shove that in his big dumb face and see what he has to say about it. Though, again, the implications of this is pretty fucking eye-opening, and to say the least. I had to assume that the thing that begun this case was eventually going to tie into the current events, you know, in some form or fashion. But didn't know it was going to be like this. But, well, anyway. If you have no kinfolk, as you put it, then explain why it is that among the sparse furnishings, we found this photograph in the room. Ah! You think you would have, like, thrown that away, or, you know, kept it with him, you know, if he didn't want people, you know, looking into his personal life and stuff. Ah! I presume, as you've been renting the room, that this photograph belongs to you, does it not? Oh, well, Mr. Boone, drop the pretense, and tell the court exactly who you really are. I don't know what you mean. I'm Peddler. I keep telling you so. You really don't need to bother with me. Please, just leave it alone. As the man says, leave it alone. Whatever the truth is about this man's life, it has no bearing on this case. Because it's simply not possible that he impersonated Inspector Gregson.
Objection!
How can you be so sure? Just look at the man. No amount of disguise could ever hide those unmissable features.
Objection!
He's ugly as fuck, and there ain't no way you can hide ugly. But what if we were to look at this the other way around? What do you mean? Yes, Counsel, what do you mean? Well, there's no denying that Mr. Boone's lip is very prominent indeed. But consider the possibility that his prominent lip is itself part of an elaborate disguise. You know, that's a fair point. That's not what I was thinking, but that makes sense. Then hiding that prominent feature, in other words, revealing his true face, would make an utterly impenetrable disguise. Wait, let me read that again. Hiding that prominent feature, in other words, revealing his true face. Oh, so yeah, him as his true self would be the ultimate disguise. Huh. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Hugh Boone? Ah! Darg! Good. Witness, are you still hiding the truth from this court? If that's a disguise, then underneath it, his true identity must be... Yes, that's right. There's really only one person he could really be. My lord, the defense believes it can reveal Mr. Boone's true identity to the court. No, please, no! Yeah, very well then, counsel. What is the true identity of this peddler who goes simply by the name of Gossip on the streets? Well, to be honest with you, this man might be Gossip on the streets, but his name is Daily Vigil in the sheets. Your real name is actually Mr. Vigil, isn't it? Mr. Daily Vigil. Yeah! Jag! I don't recall that name, counsel. Who is this Mr. Vigil? It's a name I encountered yesterday, my lord. It has to do with a certain client of Mr. Herlock Sholmes. A young gentlewoman came to the detective, asking him to locate her missing husband. A woman in this photograph, in fact. This is Mrs. Vigil. What? From what I understand, you haven't returned home since the night before the inspector was found dead. That would check out with the time that you spent as a prisoner of the two redheaded boys. But of course, on that night, you were being held captive by the two redheaded league men. Also, just curious, how old are they, by the way? 26 and 25. Bro, you look like you're about fucking 14, my guy. But I guess just being short will do that for you. And last night, you were put up by the prosecution service in preparation for testifying in this trial. Because we've been led to believe that you, Miss Venus, and Mr. Sandwich were all homeless. Being important as witnesses in this case, we needed to know where we could find you, of course. And that explains why you've not only been unable to return home, but also unable to contact your wife, who's been beside herself with worry, waiting for you at the Vigil residence. Now just you hold on a minute. I don't have the first idea what I'm talking about. Really? It's a simple enough matter to confirm my suspicions. All we have to do is pull off that disguise. No, but please. Bailiff, bring soap, a sponge, and a washbowl at once. Mr. de Rousseau and Mr. de Rossi, you will explain the witness. Oui, my lord. Si, my lord. Oh boy, they get to engage in their BDSM kink again. No! Stop! Get off! Don't! Oh, well. There goes his lip. And so is revealed the real, true Daily Vigil. It's a fucking weird name, by the way. But that's neither here nor there. I get it's like day and night, you know. I get it, but still, it's a bit funny. Well, we are now seeing your true features, I presume. Oh no, he pulled off his face and then he's realized he was actually fucking I don't know, Lord Strongheart this whole time. He was actually he's the ancestor to the Phantom, you know. He's a master of disguise. Blech. Bro, where'd you get those clothes from? Okay, did you disrobe in the middle of the court in front of God and everyone? Because you were not wearing those clothes just a minute ago. Lift your head, sir, so the court can see your face. It would appear that the defense counsel's assertion was entirely correct. As always, you know. I don't know why we ever doubt him, because he's literally always right. Unless he fucks up. This has all been a very elaborate deception. So, witnesses, tell the court, have you seen this man before? I don't believe it, but, see? There is no question. This is the inspector we saw in the park. This is the inspector we saw in the park. Extraordinary. On the day of the Red-Headed League enrollment, the man claiming to be Inspector Gregson, who appeared before Mr. DeRosso and Mr. DeRossi in the park, was you, disguised as the inspector, or rather, was you posing as the inspector in no disguise at all. Mr. Vigil was formerly employed as a chief warder at Barclay Prison. Chief warder? And your career had promise. Why, you would quite possibly become the future governor of the prison. What on earth have you been doing peddling tittle-tattle on Fresno Street? Tittle-tattle. That's kind of a funny name. Tittle, you know? Tittle this. Tittle me this, you know what I'm saying? Well, it's been 10 years since Mr. Vigil worked at the prison. 10 years? Bro, you gonna speak for yourself now? Or are you just gonna sit there gobsmacked? I'm really dreadfully sorry about all of this. Yes, it's true. I am Daily Vigil. You seem kind of gloomy, chum. But I mean, I suppose I would be too if I were in your situation. And you were the chief warder at Barclay Prison 10 years ago. Let me just review something real quick. Oh yeah, he was fired because of reasons. Aiding and abetting the escape from the prison of convict, blankety blank blank. Yeah, that's about what I thought. 10 years ago. Well, we heard that a lot in the last episode, and really earlier today, but earlier in this trial, I mean. So where did Mr. Hugh Boone come from? Boone is the other me. It's a name I invented. It's my persona, if you will, or my stand, for another term. Well, evidently, there's a great deal under the surface here. I'll explain everything. I'll tell you just how wretched my life has become. Jeez. Way to be a mood killer. As you say, it was 10 years ago now that my employment as Barclay's chief warder came to an end. Having left the prison service, I searched for some new occupation by which to earn a wage. But times were hard in London, and I found no suitable engagements at all. In desperation, one day, I turned my hand at selling wares on Fresno Street. But your wife appears to know nothing of this. She still maintains that you were the chief warder at Barclay Prison. I was utterly determined that my wife should not know of my failings, which is why I've never told her. I opened an account at the bank under the name of Hugh Boone, and I rented the cheapest room I could find on Fresno Street. The scene of the very crime we're investigating. Yes, that's right. What was it, Giselle Brett? No, I don't think so, but could you imagine? A place from which I could emerge every morning at 8 as a squalid peddler, and transform myself back every evening at 5 into a well-dressed man about town before returning home. that quickly became my daily routine. My daily vigil, if you will. I was puzzled by the lack of furniture in the room. But, I'm sorry, but how much money can you really make as a peddler? Like, if you're renting a room, that's already some money going to that. Like, how can you afford your other lifestyle as daily vigil and support your wife and stuff if all you've done is be a peddler of stuff? Like, do they really make that good money being a street peddler? But that explains it. But why on earth didn't you just tell us this in the first place? I have a wife, sir. And 2 sons. Whoa, I didn't know that. And without wishing to sound self-conceited, they regard me with some pride. I couldn't bring myself to disappoint them. So instead, you decided to conceal your occupation from them. Yes. I've made such a terrible mess of everything. Still, one thing doesn't add up. No matter how many tidbits of information you could sell to passing gentlemen, even at 6p apiece, you couldn't hope to match the salary you must have commanded as chief warder at the prison. See, okay, yeah, Kazuma brought up the very relevant point. Very true. To have kept your family in comfort, despite 10 years of somewhat misbegotten employment. That was all thanks to Inspector Gregson. What? Inspector Gregson? What on earth? It was some years after I'd invented Boone and begun my other life as a street seller. He, the inspector that is, recognized me one day. Do you mean to say the victim was an acquaintance of yours? And this music's kind of imposing. I knew him from my time working at the prison. Oh, there he is. That's definitely Gregson, alright. When he saw what I'd become, he was deeply troubled for me and my family. And from that day forward, he visited me on Fresno Street with increasing regularity. Then one day, he asked me if I would carry out a secret assignment for him. That's suspicious. A secret? What was it? I was to impersonate the inspector. Okay, now you're doing weird-ass, like, Vogue poses with your face. That's interesting. What? Impersonate him? But you don't even look anything like him. We always met in that little room so the inspector could brief me. Visit Orxie's tomorrow and take a statement from the proprietress. It was always something along those lines. Surveillance work, interviewing people. On those occasions, he would lend me his identification so people would believe who I was. My instructions were to make an impression, to let people know that Inspector Gregson had been at work. Now that's pretty fucking out there. Just throwing it out there. And for those services, he compensated me financially. A Scotland Yard inspector willingly relinquished his identification into your care with intent to deceive. I'm pretty sure that's criminal, or at least grounds for getting fired. That's not sure I need not point out. It's a very serious criminal offense. Yeah, criminal offense. Impersonating an officer and all that. But why? What was the point of you impersonating him? I truthfully do not know. All I can say is that the inspector warned me on numerous occasions. Now remember, Vigil, I need your solemn word. You don't blab about this to anyone, alright? Ever. Even if... well, if I end up a croaker. In time, he started to bring papers with him to the room as well. It became something of a second office for him. Okay, so that room was his, or well, I mean, Boone was the one, Vigil was the one renting it, but it was in fact Gregson's like secret headquarters in its own way. That's good to have clarified. So, in fact, the person who declared himself to be Inspector Gregson at the park on Lime Street was really... yes, it was me. Acting on the inspector's orders. As usual, I removed my Boone disguise, and then went as instructed to the park, armed with the inspector's identification book. Okay, I guess, you know, back in these days, like, you know, it's not like... if you weren't actively tracking Inspector Gregson, like, you wouldn't necessarily know what he looks like. Because, like, from what the, you know, DeRousseau, Peppino and Fabian, let's say, from what they saw, it's like he actually tried to look like Gregson. He just went as himself, basically. But if you didn't know what Inspector Gregson looked like normally, then I guess it would work. Still, I don't know why. It seems like a very strange and criminal thing to do. It never occurred to me that the bruise on my neck might give me away. Yeah, I mean, it's not like you would have known that Peppino also had a bruise. Well, damn. That's quite something. Well, it would seem this confession completely destroys the defense's case. Wait, what? It does? Well, I mean, yeah? Well, okay, maybe it does, because even if, you know, Mr. Vigil here was, you know, if it was his room, and he was hiding his true identity and stuff, it doesn't seem like he had any particular reason to kill Gregson, now does it? Explain yourself, Prosecutor Asogi. My learned friend's assertion was as follows. And we also don't have... Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, we did kind of... I forgot about that part. We did sort of bring that up, didn't we? The victim was killed at another location on the day before his corpse was discovered, at the hands of these two red-headed league men when they imprisoned the inspector. Wait, did... Oh. Bro, Bro, Ken! Hell, we're kinfolk! We both do baby slaps. But no! That can't be! After all, it wasn't the inspector who went to the park that day. It was me! Oh, goodness. Finally, we have clarity. We had nothing to do with this murder of the inspector. And merci, Monsieur de la Défense, for proving it. What? Ah! Yeah, I guess we did kind of prove that, didn't we? Man, I didn't even realize it. Man, Cosmo's pretty good at his job. Can't deny. Order! 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 Indeed, it would appear that we have reached a de facto conclusion of sorts. These witnesses had no involvement in the murder of the victim, and in fact, never even saw him. As proven, somewhat ironically, by the defense. Ugh. I hereby call an end to the cross-examination. Well... Hold it! Oh. Kazuma? Pardon me, my lord, but with your permission, I would like to pose one further question to the witness. Cosima? What question, counsel? It concerns the events of 10 years ago. I believe you would have been present at a very significant execution that was carried out at the time. 10 years ago? The execution of the professor, Genshin Asogi. Oh yeah, that he would have been. Though I'm unsure what relevance it has to the case at hand. I want to know exactly what your involvement was. Oh, answer me, answer me, man. I almost forgot. He forgot his southern accent in his rage. One moment, counsel. Is this related to the current case? Naturally. It is the prosecution's belief that this case and the events of 10 years ago are inextricably linked. Oh, is that your theory now? Does the defense concur, counsel? Cosima, you're not yourself. You're not as calm and collected as usual. Poor Cosima-sama. No wonder he's acting this way. Mr. Vigil's memories of what happened 10 years ago would tell the tale of Genshin Asogi's last moments. His own father. I mean, yeah, I can't deny. Yeah, that makes sense. I can understand why he would want to know about that. I know. I do understand that. But even so... Prosecutor Asogi, do you genuinely believe that this question requires an answer in order to learn the truth behind Inspector Gregson's death? I need you to trust me. Please. I don't know if I really should, man. You've been acting pretty weird ever since you got your memories back. But you are my friend, so maybe I should lend you that, lend you that debt, if you will. Very well. Then the defense has no objection. I see. In that case, we'll answer the question, witness. The truth is, I remember very little of that time. You've forgotten? I'm sorry to say, yes. As I said, I resigned from my role at the prison 10 years ago. I mean, it wasn't really a resignation as much as you were fired, but okay. But, for some peculiar reason, my memory of the events leading up to that moment was extremely hazy. Does that not strike you as strange, Mr. Naruhodo? Sorry? Well, 10 years is a long time. But to have forgotten the reason why he left such an important job, that is pretty fucking peculiar. Yes, you're right. And not only that, Mr. Vigil's claim contradicts what we already know. The human spirit is a fragile thing. It's broken all too easily. Which is why we have a tendency to wrap it up for protection. Sorry? The human spirit? Wrapping it up? I'm pretty sure you only do that when you're trying to prevent a pregnancy, my good man. I'm afraid I don't understand what you mean. When we experience pain and suffering that we feel unable to bear, we block it out, obliterate it from our memories, seal it away. Yeah, I mean, repressed memories are a thing. But it never truly leaves us. And he can speak that from personal experience. If the seal is broken, the memories resurface. And when they do, that fragile spirit may finally be crushed. But I really don't. Kazuma-sama. But it must be crushed, and so be it, because the truth will not stay buried. It's coming out, one way or another. Right. Now I understand. It's clear what his intentions are. He means to expose the truth, at any cost. Perhaps if I pointed out the contradiction of what Mr. Vigil claimed earlier, it might cause some crucial memories to return to him. But should I? Should I present the evidence or not? I mean, I don't know, should we? I don't know if I want to, like, re-traumatize this man for no good reason, other than to satisfy Kazuma's own, you know, doubts and questions and concerns and stuff. But what I do know, though, is that I'm going to leave it for the next episode. Once again, we have another important moment, though I feel like this is probably going to be a question of one of these ones where no matter what you pick, you go down the same route, because, like, there's no health or anything, or no penalty at stake, so I feel like it doesn't really matter either way. But regardless, we'll leave it for the next episode, because this one's getting to a acceptable length, and, you know, don't want things stretching out for too long. So I'll leave it here. Next time, we will decide whether or not we're gonna fucking re-traumatize this man just to make Kazuma happy, or not. But until then, I'll see you around.